but welcome. It's great to see everyone. And as we get started, feel free to use your webcam. Feel free to keep that on or off, whatever's comfortable for you. As we dive in and begin, welcome you to our series of CoreNet coaching series, How to Develop Business from Your Home Office Right Now. And there's a lot on a lot of people's minds right now. I first want to start off with some appreciation and recognition to Anna Marshall, our current president of CoreNet, and Frank Wiseman, who I see is on the call, our past president of CoreNet Carolinas chapter, for engaging and wanting to get together and do this series. Thank you, team, for engaging in that, because it gives us one more chance to connect as CoreNet body of members here. Brett Frenier of Ratio Design is running this and hosting us right now. So he's the one that when you chat, it'll go straight to Brett and he can communicate that to me. He is our host. Also, thank you to Courtney Fain of Little and Don Honnert of BDHP for being our board members who are in charge of working with sponsors. And speaking of sponsors, I can see Robbie Lowe. Robbie, welcome. We're going to do a live chat with Robbie from DPR Construction here in about 15 minutes. So as we dive in and get started, we have a lot to cover today, and my objective is to get through my portion of it as quickly as we can, give you the information you want to get, then get to the chat with Robbie, and then I've got a special activity planned for us as we figure out this virtual world together here. So a lot of things on people's minds right now. One of those might be, how do I develop business in this time of uncertainty? Like, what's right, what's wrong, how do I do this? Super important thing to talk about. So we're going to get a lot of great ideas out here today. I want to tell everyone that as we get started, at the end, there will be an email coming to every person here that's registered. So please, before we really get started, I'd like you to type into the chat box a message to Brett of Ratio Design. Type into the box your email, or pardon me, type into the box your email address. You can chat it to him, and he will get your email. He will make sure that you get the follow-up to this, which is going to capture all the strategies, the empowering questions, and follow-up actions. So for some reason, should we have internet connectivity issues? Or should my 3 young children come in here and destroy the house? Should anything happen, you can get the notes and the follow-up from Brett. So please shoot your email into that chat box, and Brett, you can capture those and get the email out within the next 24 hours. So right now, I just want to share a couple things. One, I'm no more informed than the next person on where this thing might be going. In fact, I know there's a lot of people out there, whether you run a company, you're an executive, account executive, business development, some of you might be operations, some of you might be working from home for the first time, some of you might be thinking about how to make a profit. Some of you are thinking, how do I stay open? Some of you are feeling really strong. Some of you are feeling in a place of scarcity, and you're having some real tough stuff going on right now. No matter where you are, we're here right now together, and there's strength in that, in knowing that everyone here is working diligently to be the best version of themselves they can be. So as we dive in and get started here, our goal for today is to empower you with the certainty, strategies, and tactics for developing your business right now. So I know that when you get together as a group and your main objective is to add as much value as you can, our objective is to learn from each other, to inspire each other, to have ideas come out that we can use and put into play right now. That's our objective and our goal. We will accomplish that today, my friends. Expectations of this call, real simple. I'm going to be transparent. It's a safe place to ask any questions and to be you. Take what's valuable to you. There's going to be some new ideas here. There's going to be some things you probably heard before, but try your best to take one nugget of wisdom today that you can use to do great at business development, do great for people. And I put in there patience with things out of our control. So one tip for virtual meetings, if you're new to virtual meetings, and I can see in the webcam, there are quite a few people that are playing with their virtual backgrounds, and that looks like a lot of fun. I can say this, if you're new to it, a lot of you click the link so you can show up on your computer. You can also dial in on the conference phone number. So you can click the link to show up on your computer and dial in on the conference phone number. So should your internet go down, should my internet go down, you can still hear me talking, right? So you're dialed in 2 ways. You click the link on your computer and you've dialed in. That's one way to get around, because those of you who are on Tuesday night's webinar, you know that my internet went down from 7:01 to 7:08. So we were actually down for 7 minutes. So this stuff live real time, sometimes we have glitches, and that's one way to avoid one of those glitches. So expectations. some of the challenges we've seen out there, and by all means, I don't know what all the challenges are. I can only share the challenges that I'm aware of. There's probably challenges out there that I have no idea that are happening, but we've got to own some of those challenges. And some of the ones that I've identified are mindset, our own and those of others, the perception of business development right there, working differently. We're out of our normal routines right now. The business climate's changed. There's no way around that right now. It's changed, and for many, it's contracted. For some, they're really winning, and there are things that are positive that are happening. For others, it's contracted. The normal ways of doing business have been disrupted for most of us. And there's a lack of a clear business philosophy and how to respond for many leaders right now. And that's okay. This is one of those situations where there's not really a crisis playbook for this. And we're all doing this for the first time and learning it together. So let's learn together. Let's figure out our immediate playbook now, and let's see that play out on the side of people. Continuing forward, the format of the call, I'm going to share with you 4 ideas. I'm going to empower you with questions on the slides. Then we're going to do the live chat with Robbie Loeb, DPR Construction. I'll ask Robbie some questions, and we'll go back and forth for a few minutes. And then we're going to go through the very best practices that we've collectively engaged in as a group. And I'm going to show you a new technique that probably most of you have never heard of or never tried before using Zoom technology. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing that. And then, of course, at the very end, with about 5 minutes to go, we'll turn it back on just so you can see my screen, and I'll share with you some post-call, like wrap-up things. So to get started here, team, let's go ahead and dive in. First, cue puppy. So, team, let's first get into a place where we're relaxed and we can smile. Those of you who know me know we've got to be in the right state of mind when we go to any type of activity where we're going to learn. So wherever you are right now, let's sit back for a second. Let's slow down, let's pause, and get present. Let's take a deep breath. Let's begin. 4 strategies here, team. We're going to talk about your attitude first. We're going to talk about understanding the lens of others. We're going to go deep into the exceptional value that we can create right now. And then last is taking action. Those are the 4 strategies that we're going to go into and own. As we do this, I always start with your attitude first, because before we can do anything on a high level for others, we've got to check ourselves first. And this is a place that some of us out there right now, we're thriving. We're doing great. And Matt, we don't need to work on attitude because we're doing great. And then there are others out there, and from my private conversations, there are far more than may admit in public. There are those out there who aren't doing great. And when they show up every day, they're showing up in a place of fear and in scarcity. So we've got to make sure that the way we are showing up is the right way for our people. So before you can show up the best for others, we have to show up the best for ourselves. Here are some questions, team, that I encourage you to think about, and you'll get these in an email coming later. I encourage you to think about these questions that can help you to show up your very best. The first question are, why is it important for me to level up my thinking and view this as an opportunity to truly shine for my people? I love starting with why questions, because why questions connect us to our purpose. They give us the sense of meaning and drive when we can think in terms of why questions. This might be a great place to start this exercise for you, a great place to start your morning with a why question. In times in my past when I've overcome major obstacles, what strengths did I bring to the table? Every single person on this call has had several things in their life that have been major challenges. Everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. When you got through those challenges, there are certain strengths inside of you that you relied upon. And sometimes when we go through periods where we're flourishing, we may not see all those strengths. We may not even think about those strengths. I want you to think about the strengths that helped you get through any other major challenges you've had. Because those strengths lying dormant, we can awaken those and get through this now. This is a question, the second one, that I borrowed from a friend of mine yesterday on his podcast. How might I show up as an island of sanity in this sea of chaos? How might I do that? How can we reconnect to some sense of meaningful purpose in all of this, in our work, in our life? When have you faced a challenge where you had no experience? When have I faced a challenge where I had no experience, no playbook, no immediate answers, and I eventually came through it successfully by connecting to a time in my life where I did come through a huge challenge. So thinking about the unscripted, when we're going through things that we've never gone through before, when was the time that you did that and you thrived in that? How do I find a sense of responsibility for how I'm showing up? How do we find that? Your attitude first, team. Moving on to number 2, understanding the lens of others. So thinking about the lens of other people, and I've shared this in every webinar I've done so far in the last couple of weeks for several hundred people. This is the most important play. This is the master play to put in your playbook, is to check on them first. And it doesn't matter if you checked on them and you called everyone on your list, your Rolodex last week. We don't want to make the mistake of assuming that from week to week right now, everyone's in the same and great condition. So let's check on them first. How do you do that? The simplest way is, how are you? How's your family? How are you adapting? Real simple. How are you? How's your family? How are you adapting? Let's put that people page in the playbook first. Being vulnerable and authentic through the lens of others can really help you to build that deeper connection with them. How might we do that? Here are some questions. The first 3 simple ones, the most impactful ones. How are you? How's your family? How are you adapting? What is it that you valued the most about our relationship, personal and professional, since we've known each other? Asking some feedback questions and really deeper connecting about why they value the relationship. That's a good one you can ask. The follow-up to that, where is an area that we can improve on that would make the most difference to you? A couple of feedback questions in there. The last one on this page, how can we create experiences of belongingness and connection? And that's a question that you and your teams can brainstorm right now to create that sense of belongingness and connection. So on a side note here, on this most important page in the playbook to think through their lens, many of us, like we said before, are doing okay right now. We're doing fine right now. Let's not assume that from week to week everyone else is as well. We've got to deploy empathy and patience with people on a massive grand scale right now. This is the way to think about it and to frame your thinking. Number 3, we're going to go into a little bit deeper here, some of our more specific coaching, how to create exceptional value. So start with your strengths. So team, I want to do an exercise for about 60 seconds here. I'd like you to grab out your notepad, pen, your email, whatever it is you're typing on, and I'd like you to go back to that place where you identify your greatest strengths. So whatever you're doing right now, I'd like you to write down what are your 1, 2, 3 greatest strengths, whatever those strengths might be. You know, I've seen people whose greatest strengths are just being a great listening ear to others. I've seen some people whose greatest strengths are creating tremendous presentations with visual wow. I've seen people's greatest strengths be the ability to have tough, firm, fair conversations with others. I've had some people's greatest strengths are the ability just to be charismatic and connect people together. Whatever your greatest strengths are that you have right now, circle those. And I want to find a way that we can design your strategy for business development through those strengths on these 3 bullet points. Be a connector, an educator, someone who can inspire and help them overcome. We'll use your strengths to go through these 3 frames: connecting, educating, inspiring, and overcoming. Here are some of the questions you might use, and this is probably the most important question that I've found value in leading my organization of about 70 coaches that we can use to help us get through this and thrive with our people. How might we add so much exceptional value to people right now by relieving their pain and uncertainty, by bringing them our best selves, by offering them education that strengthens them and their businesses, by connecting them to their true purposes, and by being there for them in their time of most need? That was such a long question. I had to take a sip of water there. Sometimes these questions can feel a little bit overwhelming and big. I wanted to capture the different areas of how we can leverage our strengths to serve people. And this question captures quite a bit. How might we manifest this into our actions on a daily basis and lead ourselves and them into prosperity again? Creating exceptional value. Thinking about this as a way for us to go above and beyond the simple, just how are you? Wanted to check in. Is there anything I can do for you right now? You know, that's probably a good business development technique. A great one is one where we can ask a little deeper question of ourselves and form a deeper connection with our clients, prospects, and teams by using questions like this to frame things. Number 4, action, learn and lead by doing. So I wrote build the pyramid. Build the pyramid as in, the pyramids weren't built in a day, they were built one brick at a time. And you can't learn to ride a bike at a seminar. That's the name of one of my favorite books. We aren't able to learn how to do all of this unless we take action. We've got to get on the bike. We've got to do things to see how people respond and let the feedback of the real life experience be what drives and guides us. So those are some of the actions, some questions here that can help us to wrap up. Whoa, hold on a sec. How can you stand out? I like to throw a little humor in there every once in a while. Those are some pictures of some random Elvises. So some questions. Why is taking action for people so important for us right now? How might I leverage my strengths to take action for people at this time? How might embracing a mindset of curiosity and learning empower me to take action in creative new ways that might serve my people on a higher level? Those are some of the actions. Those are some of the questions we can ask ourselves. Those are the high-level concepts I wanted to present to you today, team. I'm going to turn things over here now.